One, two, three, four, five, 4, 5. Have you ever seen people cash stuffing money into envelopes and you're just there wondering, does this thing even work? Is it just trends? What exactly is this? Well, in today's video, I'll be answering some of those questions and explaining how I use the cash stuffing in my budget. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi there, I am Wita Paramuntu. Welcome to my space where we talk all things budgeting. Now, I'm not a registered financial advisor, just a girl passionate about finance, sharing her journey, the mistakes, the lessons, and everything I'm learning along the way. If that tickles your fancy, please hit that red subscribe button so that we can learn and grow together. Remember, the goal is to hit 600 subscribers before the end of July. First things first, I need to address matters before I get into the video. So I posted a video 2 weeks ago, and in the video I mentioned how I was struggling with space and it was hindering me from shooting videos for YouTube. YouTube takes up a lot of space. Having that app, like, there's just a lot. YouTube takes a lot of space, so I wasn't able to actually shoot videos because of that. Little did I know that it was not just storage. My phone is also just acting up, guys, because I tried to delete a few things, but there's just something wrong with my phone. I don't know. At this point, I think I need a new phone. Yeah, guys, now let's not waste any more time. Let's get into this video. Basically, cash stuffing is a budgeting method where you take your salary and stuff it into envelopes, like you use physical cash instead of having the whole amount in your account hoping that it's going to last the entire month. You would take the cash and stuff it into different envelopes. Every envelope represents a specific category, and once that envelope is finished, it means that the money for the month is finished. Now that we understand what a cash stuffing method is, how do I use it? Okay, so how I use this method is I use it together with the zero-based budgeting method. If you watched some of my videos, you know I use the zero-based budgeting method. And once I've done that, now I calculate the categories that are going to need physical cash. And then on payday, I just withdraw that money and stuff it into my different envelopes. And now this is where it becomes personal. I don't withdraw or I don't cash stuff every expense, but I cash stuff for certain expenses, because I feel like there are certain expenses that can be managed easier when they are in cash, but other expenses, like, they don't really need cash. Imagine if you had rent money as cash. It doesn't make sense for me. So there are transactions that there is money that I keep in my card and do the transactions online, and certain categories that I use cash for. These categories include transportation. I definitely need cash for that because I use taxis. So the transportation to church and transportation to work, that is cash. Groceries, I also use cash for this. The reason why I use cash for groceries is because I feel like it is easier to manage. It keeps me much more accountable because I split it over 4 weeks. I know there's money for week 1, for week 2, for week 3, and for week 4. So if, let's say, the budget for the month is 1,000, what I would usually do is I would take for the first week, because and that's where a lot of things are finished, I would allocate a higher amount. Let's say I allocate 300, and then for the next week, let's say I allocate 200, and I would allocate another higher amount for week 3, which is like 300 and 200 for the last week, because it's the week approaching or leading up to payday. Right? So if you are going to do this, or if you are interested in doing the cash stuffing method, you should know which expenses will be managed better as cash. You can't cash stuff everything. The other category that I use cash for is offering, but obviously I don't include offering in my budget because I feel like that amount is personal to me, but I do cash stuff it and put it aside. And then the other category, if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes. Then the other category is hair. I stay in the township, so I do my hair in the township. Most of the time they don't allow for transfers and things like that, so I just have cash. And with other expenses, it just depends based on the budget and things that are going to happen in that month. But those are the standard categories or expenses that I usually keep in cash. What did I miss? Let me just check here. I think, yeah, I mentioned everything because I'm trying to give you guys an idea of what the cash stuffing method is, but I don't want to complicate it. I want to make it as personal as possible. I don't want to use generic explanations, but I want to explain it the way that I use it, right? Just like any other budget method has its pros and cons, there are challenges here and there, but to be quite honest, it remains my favorite way of managing my money. Remember, this is on a personal level, not just on a generic level. This is on my own experience. Number one of my favorite reasons or the advantages for me is, I don't know how to explain it, but there's just something about physical cash, guys. Holding physical cash makes me feel more connected and more accountable to my budget. Like, unlike tapping my card, it makes me more aware of my spending decisions. The second thing is that it forces me to be intentional. Like I explained, that you allocate money towards specific envelopes. So once that envelope is empty, then I know that this is my spending limit. It's over, it's chai. I have to wait for the next month. And then the third thing is it makes tracking easier. Now, if you've seen my budget is very detailed, guys. I realize that a lot of people usually combine certain things. Let's say they have a whole category of groceries. This would include their toiletries, cleaning stuff, all those things. But with my budget, it's very, very detailed. So that is how I like it. I want it to be as detailed as possible. So using cash, actually, using the cash stuffing envelope helps me to track better, because I don't want to be going through my bank statements, doing all of that, and I don't have to track my spending like every week, because I know if a certain envelope, if I allocated 1,000 towards that envelope and then the envelope is empty, then it means I used 1,000 for that. So it makes tracking very easy, unless of course I end up borrowing money from another envelope. That's where I start tracking, so that I know, okay, with this category I probably overspend by this much, and then with this category spend less than what was budgeted. Number one, I sometimes tend to borrow money from different envelopes, which defeats the purpose of the cash stuffing method, because it is meant to set boundaries and limit, to say once an envelope is finished, then it's chai. But sometimes, especially that week towards payday, I know, okay, I'm not gonna need money for this particular category, and there's still money, and this other category or this other envelope is empty, so I tend to borrow from that budget to the other one, and it's a bad habit. I am still working on that, but as much as I borrow from one envelope to the other, I usually borrow because I know there's money that's going to be left over, right? And then the other thing that I need to work on is sometimes I carry the whole cash binder, which is the biggest mistake. It happened last month, and when you carry the whole cash binder, you feel like you have more money. You now spend more than what is expected because you easily have access to the cash. So it's very important that you just carry that envelope. Let's say you're going to buy groceries and it's week 1, you just take the envelope for week 1. And even when you get to the store, I know sometimes there's that embarrassment of wanting to buy things even though they are above your budget, because how are they going to look at me if I return these things? But if you have an envelope and it only has 200 and the things on the till are more than 200, then you're able to say, oh, sorry, could you please return this? It's a bit embarrassing, but it forces discipline in you, right? The other thing is, unfortunately you miss out on interest because it's like physical cash. You won't get interest, whereas if your money is in the bank, you'll be getting interest every month. But I'm absolutely okay with not getting that interest. But there is a way that I think would work for other people that are interested in this method but don't necessarily want cash. If you are using Time Bank, you know that there are different saving goals. You can have up to 10 saving goals. So instead of having physical cash, you can probably use those different goals as your envelopes. So you have goal 1, you allocate it to whatever expense, goal 2 to whatever expense, and that way your money is managed, or your money is spread out properly, and you still have it in your bank, right? But that is also very dangerous because it means you still have access to the money. You're still going to carry it around. One of the things that helps me with this is planning ahead. For instance, with groceries, week 1, I would usually sit down at the beginning of the week, draw up a grocery list, the things that I'm going to need for that week, and when I get to the store, I know this is how much I have, this is how much I'm going to spend. So preparing in advance does actually help me. Even in the morning before I go to work, I just take out money for transportation if I am going to need Uber, or on Fridays because I go to church, I would take money to go to work, and I would take a certain amount for my Uber to church. I think I've mentioned everything. I hope I answered some of the questions that you guys had. And in conclusion, I'm going to mention this. Everyone's budget is different. Personal finance is exactly that. It's personal. Whether you're using the cash stuffing method, whether you're using digital, whatever method you are using, the goal is still the same. Be intentional. And for me, cash stuffing is that tool that helps me to be more accountable and more intentional with my money. It enforces that discipline in me, because at the end of the day, we are not perfect. We're human, we're going to make mistakes. So you put as many barriers as you possibly can. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed, what are you still waiting for? Please hit that red subscribe button. Please make sure that you share this video with your friends, guys. Please, it does help with the algorithm. Make sure that you share it with your friends so that we can grow. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section what are the things that you have put in place to help you stick to your budget. Thank you so much for watching once again, and thank you so much for the love and the support, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.